Goblincore is an aesthetic based on the appreciation of aspects of nature not typically regarded as beautiful. These aspects can range from animals such as frogs and snails to materials such as moss, mud, plants, and fungi such as mushrooms. Does that sound like you? If so, keep watching. My name is Isaiah Hernandez and this is Queer Brown Vegan. My platform is to bring intersectional issues rather than ignore them. If you like what you see here, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because it helps me grow my channel and bring you more educational content. Not everyone knows that Goblincore, also known as Gremlincore, is specifically popular in queer communities. This aesthetic has a special place in my heart. Statistically, more queer youth face rejections from their families than straight ones. Feeling outcast or isolated rings true with Gremlincore's motives. Aesthetics like this that celebrate the diversity of nature have helped people find liberation and acceptance with a visual style to match. Its counterparts, cottagecore or fairycore, focus a lot on the brighter sides of nature. Gremlincore is the other side of things, the dark, the decay, the dirty, which is just as perfect and essential to life. Now, gremlins versus goblins. I've been using the term Gremlincore because there's a bit of a controversy around Goblincore. Gremlins are a mischievous creature from around the 20th century and they were blamed for a malfunction in aircraft. Roald Dahl, the author of books such as Matilda and the BFG, made them famous with his first children's books, The Gremlins. They've also been main characters of Steven Spielberg's 1984 comedy horror Gremlins. They have earned their spot in this aesthetic because of their mischievous nature. I personally love the film. Let me know if you did too. As for goblins and Goblincore, let's clear up what the controversy is and what you should be aware of. The controversy comes from how goblins have been used in the past for anti-Semitic messaging towards the Jewish communities. These messages would use images goblins as thieving or greedy and depict harmful stereotypes primarily of Jewish people. It would also dehumanize them, and that's been the primary push against Goblincore. I actually found this really great thread on Tumblr that really detailed the request for the community to stop using Goblincore and to really rethink the ways that we can use it and to shift over to Gremlincore, which is more inclusive and also very much the same thing as Goblincore. The aesthetic isn't about greediness or being problematic, but knowing that nature has many mischievous creatures and we can accept those parts of ourselves. Another is changing the visual representations. Like, how do we depict goblins? Instead of using big teeth and hooked noses, they're described as a fair folk, as some of those creatures could be downsized for the Goblincore community. Things like hoarding small objects don't have to be done out of greed. It could be done out of appreciation or to share with people. These are just some of the things Jewish communities have pointed out about being aware of goblins as harmful as a stereotype. I don't think Goblincore or Gremlincore as a whole is cancelled, but you should know that it can be interpreted a few ways that you might not want. So how do you know that you like Gremlincore? If you probably like Gremlincore, you probably follow the following themes. Number one is species like plants and fungi. One of the biggest ones are mushrooms. This makes sense because mushrooms can have many different sexes and also have so much diversity in color. They also take several different shapes. Foraging for mushrooms is Gremlincore for sure. Also on the list are things like moss and ivy. I think these are Gremlincore because they're usually associated with petrichor, the forest floor, or seen as something to be cleaned up. I think I'd love a moss rug, to be honest. Next thing is animals. Frogs, toads, more on that in the media section. Classically associated with witches, frogs seem to represent the strange and the occult. They transform from tadpoles, lurk in swamps and near sources of water. Anything wet and sludgy in nature is basically Gremlincore. Also on that list are slugs and snails. It's great to have an aesthetic that celebrates things found all over nature. Maybe you don't have hummingbirds and frolicking deer, but Gremlincore focuses on a lot of creatures we can find under any old rock. Next one is style. How do we wear Gremlincore? I don't know if there's one answer, but I think thrifting is absolutely Gremlincore. Any sort of mismatched clothes, especially with different patterns, outdoors gear, but not like new fashion. The old stuff like big hats and tacky vests. Lastly, old and tarnished jewelry, anything shiny but not too fancy, like upcycling trash into jewelry. Nature-inspired jewelry could be on that list as well, but not all of it. Nothing too traditionally cute. Maybe like big mossy rock on a necklace that's giving Gremlincore. Personally, this is an outfit that I thrifted years ago. It's velvet and I kind of resemble like Gremlincore for me because it's like old and also very much representative of my style. The next category is media. Well, Frog and Toad, of course. I think that one goes without saying, and they are friends of lovers. The world may never know. I'm pretty sure they're friends. Anyways, also in this category where the wild things are, the main character has a Raggedy Beast outfit on the gallivants through the night to strange creatures. I don't recommend doing that, but it is definitely Gremlincore. In the movie section, films like My Neighbor Totoro really show off the strangeness of nature. Are cat buses Gremlincore? I think so. All in all, Gremlincore is an engaging and comforting way to see yourself, the diverse world around us. Warts and all, no matter who you are, Gremlincore celebrates the sides of you that you may want to leave hidden under a rock sometimes. I think anything that helps you embrace the fullness of your identity is worth exploring. Bonus points if it gets you outside and looking around the dirt. I actually have some things that are Gremlincore that I personally want to show you. So the first one is that I was gifted my own gremlin by my own team member, Max. I love him to death. He gave me this gremlin card. Basically, it says that my gremlin is poor, frightened Caruffle, right? Their name's Caruffle, was found in the coffee machine of a commercial airliner after having been screamed at, shot at, and chased by a raving lunatic who apparently believed in the little gremlin meant to crash the plane. I doubt this accusation is true, although Caruffle has shown a certain aptitude for chaos when left alone. Attention and cuddle seem to be helped a great deal in this curbing this tendency. And what he loves to do is whatever you're doing, whatever that is, including gentle play with children, midnight snacks is not advisable. Species is gremlin, fur color is pink, and his eye color is brown, and he was adopted by me. And actually I want to show you all because he is so, or they, who knows what they are so adorable, and I keep this actually here on my desk table because it reminds me so much of a cute gremlin. The next thing I want to show you is my own Gremlincore that I upcycled. So I made this art piece back in 2019. I had just first moved to New York City, and my friend and I had no money. We really wanted to do art, but we're like, we barely have any money to even buy anything. So we went to a dollar store. We bought these canvases for like maybe 50 cents or something. And we found these vintage encyclopedia books that were on the street in Brooklyn. In New York, you can find anything, to be honest. And that's where gremlins thrive. And we created this collage of what our future or what we would like to live in. And in here, you'll see different images of like, little mouse that's sleeping in the forest, some tomatoes, some plants in the forest, the background, some more birds. And I think for me, like, this is my vision board for the future life I really want to have. And I kept it secret to myself because it reminds me of my younger early 20s and how much I was going through, but also it's Gremlincore. I mean, like it's such a weird thing. Like when people come over and they look at it, they're like, what is this, Isaiah? And I'm like, it's art, it's something, it's a mood board, who knows? But these are one ways that you can also get creative to create your own art. The next thing I want to show you all is this book that is called Goblin Mode. It's titled Goblin Mode, How to Get Cozy, Embrace the Imperfection, and Thrive in the Muck. And I think it has a really cool ways to actually be gremlin, and I feel like it's pretty awesome. Like it gives you really cool tips on how to upcycle and other things like that. And so I really think that for people that are interested in reading more about it, this is a really great resource. And again, I think the writer that wrote this is queer, based in Alaska. So that's really dope that they even thought about writing this book, and I have it. And a lot of people who come over always ask me like what this book is. When it comes to plants, I used to have so much plants growing up. My parents instilled in me, but I actually have a surprise for you all because I made my closed terrarium that is solar powered for hours to grow. Obviously, I'm not doing such the best job. It's struggling to survive, but you know what? Other plants like the ferns and the moss here that are growing, and I feel like it's a really great way for people to get involved in taking care of things. And also it's really cool to see how my little watermelon plants right here have been growing. Not actual watermelon, but these are things of examples of Goblincore where it's like we get to see things on the end. And I also have another one that I want to show you all that's on this side right here. I made this, it's like an open air terrarium. Basically, I made this back in the fall with friends, and it's really cool because it's been growing. You can see even in the back, like there's other plants that are growing, and I feel So happy to see this little home because I feel like fairies can live in there, or little gremlins can hide in there. So yeah, that's my home and how it's Gremlincore inspired. That's all for today's episode. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like the video, leave a comment with anything else you'd like for me to talk about, and subscribe to the channel if you like what you saw. Goodbye, gremlins.